I'm just going to move 157 Homestead to 6A. Good afternoon. My name is Sean McGuire. I'm the Executive Director of the Albany County Land Bank. It is 3:04 p.m. on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. We're calling to order a meeting of the Land Bank's Acquisition Disposition Committee, and we're holding this meeting remotely per New York State Open Meetings Law. This meeting is available on the Land Bank's YouTube channel for listening, viewing, and live streaming. Today on the call, participating from the committee, we have our committee member and Vice Chair, Sam Wells. Rest of our committee is absent, and so we are just going to hold this for informational purposes. For the Land Bank staff, we have everybody in the team joining us, including Sue, Shelby, Lillian, and Lynette. I didn't forget their names. I'm just the wheel is spinning today. So, yeah. Anyway, the agenda was circulated to the committee ahead of time. It contains a number of items. Number 3, I'm actually just going to ask that we just renumber 6A, and we'll come to that after we do our typical review of new items. First, there's the minutes. They reflect the meeting of August 13th. Well, we're not going to approve those today. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review them. And are there any questions, suggestions, or amendments to those minutes as presented?
I'm here. They look good.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Sam. All right. We'll move on to item 4, which is actually item 3. We have no new acquisitions for this month. So we'll move to we'll move to new dispositions. We have one application for the Acquisition Disposition Committee to consider. I shouldn't say one. We have multiple applications from one buyer. And so we'll just take this all as one group here. 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19 Groton Street in Albany, as well as 94, 96, 98, 100, 102 Oliver in Albany. Shelby, do you want to go over that?
Yeah. So this applicant owns a home that's adjacent to the lots. And these are all landlocked lots. And so it's pretty self-explanatory. We were hoping, well, the team was requesting or suggesting that we approve the buyer under the conditions that they merge all the lots. If not upon closing, then I think we talked about like doing an enforcement based upon like after the closing to ensure that they merge the lots afterwards. But this applicant was reached out to about a year ago to buy these lots, and now luckily they had applied. So
these are the lots in the Woodville section of the city, and right, they're landlocked. These are lots that were platted off years ago in anticipation of development. And there's paper streets back there and everything. So I think it's a good, it's good to get that neighbor in here to be a steward for it. They're not immediately adjacent because of the presence of a paper street, but we can certainly, try to advise or not advise them, but let them know who to contact if they wanted to see if the city will release a paper, a segment of a paper street or something, so they can attach it all to their property and just create one large residential lot back there. But in the meantime, because that's a bit of a process, I think that being able to get this into somebody's hands to keep an eye on and maintain would be a positive step for a lot of land lots that we otherwise don't have a real purpose for.
Yep, I agree 100%. I think this is a great outcome. So kudos to you guys for this, for working with this applicant. Yeah, I think I've been back there once before. There's some real topography issues too. And there's some topography and topography issues, and I know the water department views this as, I forgot what the term was, but I think the listed use for the owner is perfect, exactly what the city would be looking for, and Yeah, I agree 100% with merging it all to, which will reduce the chance that this comes back to us at any point through tax foreclosure. And also, if something does happen here, it's a little easier for whichever developer does it because you only have to talk to one person instead of, 20. Because these lots, not just these ones, but the others that exist back there have been speculated upon over and over for decades. So, or at least as long since they've been plotted out, they've been frequent sources of speculation. So I think this is, and then if something does have great happen back there, a local resident benefits, which is what we want to see. So this is, yeah, I'm all for it. Well
Yeah.
done to the team and kudos to you guys on this.
All right. All right, so we'll keep moving forward there. And Sam, we might reach out to just to get a sense as to if, is it a problem with the city to merge those, or do we need to, suggest to the owner that he calls planning and go through that process there. I know they can merge by deed and it's, effectively merge it, but then it creates, a building lot that's not possible, but they're not going to build. He's just trying to keep this for open space. So, it's the proper way to do that. So,
I can check with planning real quick this afternoon.
okay.
Um,
Yeah,
I can just
that'd be
run upstairs and chat with them real quick, see if they want him to do the merging through them or if they're fine with doing it by deed.
okay. And if they do, just for the team, once we get him under contract, I believe he could go to the city and get all the approvals for the merger. It just, he wouldn't file the maps and the new deeds until closing, which would be perfect timing. That would be the ideal scenario, is that he gets under contract, he does work through the process with planning to do the mergers, and then at closing, we file all the stuff at once, and it's easier for the buyer because it's not multiple visits and multiple filings. It'll be one closing to do all that. In theory, and I'm saying in theory, so. All right, we'll go to the next item. I said 6A, really 5A once we renumber these things. This is 157 Homestead Ave. Board approved this and it's under contract to our buyer. Our buyer has gone through, she's getting financing. She had some initial commitments, but during the walkthrough with the inspector, because she is getting HUD-backed financing, they pulled together a scope of work to be done. They've shared that. I think they've shared 2 scopes, Lynette, with us on estimates for work to be done.
Yes, too.
And
And,
so, you want to talk about that?
yeah, so she provided us with a scope of work from the lender, the inspector who visited the property, and one was for about $176,000. And then she provided another scope of work from a contractor, and that was around $201,000. She also had a structural engineer inspect the property, and they guesstimate that it would cost between $30,000 and $50,000 to stabilize the building. What other information? do we
No, I
need?
think that's
Yeah, just
that's a
the-
good number. So we start to add some of those pieces up. I mean, she's right. I mean, she's not going to qualify for enough to do all that work, and then there becomes the question about the value of all of that coming together. Lynette and I had a chance to talk about this and sort of work back in the napkin numbers about this, about what our options are, because when the board approved the sale, they did not approve the other applicant as a second, as a second buyer. It was to go back out onto the market. Given the scopes that she's provided, it seems, her request to reduce the price to $25,000, I think, is a fair one. I think it helps us stay mission focused and get this, into the hands of a new homeowner, in an affordable way, chance to build equity on their own, take a property that has just had a hard time being rehabbed in that neighborhood. And I think the neighbors, certainly would appreciate that. But Just on the business end of things too, just looking at the numbers, you know, and giving those scopes and giving some of the, again, limitations of trying to make it affordable and then so on and so forth. I think that, you know, if we were to just to do the rehab ourselves, you know, we might not even walk away with 25,000 after everything. So I think that she's probably the buyer's in a better position to complete this project. The buyer's in a better position to truly benefit from it. And I think it aligns with our goal, our mission goals and objectives of the land bank. With our community. It's not in our focus neighborhood, you know, but it's still it's been a challenging property. I think we all recognize that. So my recommendation, also staff recommendation, but you know, I'll the one to take the risk on it. I think it's a perfectly reasonable risk. I think it's the right concession to make is to accept that reduced asking price, so that way we can get this property rehabbed.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I think this is obviously the right thing to do. My only one concern is just to, you know, reduce the chances of this happening in the future. And just make sure that our applicants have, you know, are thoroughly vetting their own project ideas as much as we can in the future. Right. So, you know, if we know an applicant's going to bring in contractors, and I don't know if there's a way we can help them facilitate that before they make their offer in the future, but that way we can avoid, because I don't want to accidentally set a precedent or give people ideas that they can just come back and undercut us, you know, or attempt to undercut us because, you know, of one thing or another. But obviously this is the right thing to do. So
Yeah, I think the options are we could go back and just say, okay, you know, we're not going to do that. So the deal falls apart. But we didn't, you know, since we didn't approve the backup, we didn't approve the second applicant as an alternative buyer. We're just going to end up putting that back out there and waiting to see what happens. So,
yeah, is there a way? I know a while back we used to get our own scopes done. Do we still doing those?
I think we had one for this property, if I recall. It was probably a little older, but
Yeah.
it didn't. I think we're at a point where, oh, you know, some of the past scopes probably don't really hold water anymore. And
Yeah,
so,
I wonder if like maybe we should be redoing those every 3 to 5 years or something. I'm not sure, but you know,
mhm.
just as a way to give our potential buyers like a better sense of what they're looking at, and or you know, as part of their process, like maybe we can give extra deference to candidates who, you know, ask for a little more time to get their own scopes done before they put in an offer. I don't know,
Yeah,
something to play with there. Just you
yeah,
know, I just don't want to see this that often. Otherwise, this is great. You know, I agree with it.
there have been some, and Lynette, you did that walkthrough on Clinton Avenue, and she was on the phone walking through, talking to her contractor. She sort of prepared her.
Actually, she brought her contractors with her
Yeah.
to the showing, twice. So that we give once the property goes on the market or it's made available, they have a good 30 days to request, you know, showings. And then also if they have to go back with contractors, we give them ample time to do that. So it's definitely something that, you know, that's allowed. We haven't had too many people take advantage of that though.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way we can denote that on a matrix in the future or some way, you know, because those are the folks that are clearly taking it a little more seriously and giving it a lot of thought, and to me would have higher chances of success, right? And you know, reduced chances of coming back to reduce your offer price. So just something to think about, because obviously I think we'd all like to see fewer requests like this, though obviously it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Um, that's all we've got for this meeting here. Unless you have any other questions or staff has anything that I'm overlooking or missing here.
No, that's good with me. I'll run upstairs real quick and just check on those, you know, the merge question.
Gotcha. And the general question about the winter properties coming in from the county, they're moving forward. We've again seen some updated lists. So there's some current properties that they hold that it appears, the outstanding liability on those exceed the potential value there. They have to make sort of a risk determination. If they transfer that over or they discharge that they're limiting, the equity that they can withstand something challenging. So we've seen some of those. We'll start mapping those out. I saw a list quickly before I left last week, or before I left on Sunday. But we're moving along. We had a good conversation. I had a good meeting with the county recently.
Good.
We're all working together. So it's a great partnership that we all have with each other. So
Awesome.
we're very fortunate to be doing this work together.
That's good.
All right. No further business. It's 3:19. We can hold this committee adjourned, and then Enforcement and Compliance Committee will be back at 3:30 for a quick agenda.
Sounds good.